We will be inviting Mr. Michael Yap to introduce us to the Cybersecurity Industry Call for Innovation. The Cybersecurity Industry Call for Innovation is a flagship program by CSA that aims to capitalize the development of innovative cybersecurity solutions to meet national cybersecurity and strategic needs with the potential for commercial application.
This year's call was launched back in October 2019 and received a total of 87 proposals from companies both locally and globally. After a series of evaluations, a total of 9 projects were awarded.
We would now like to invite Mr. Michael Yap, Managing Partner of TNB Ventures, to take us through the journey and insights of 2019's Cybersecurity Innovation Call.
Mr. Yap has founded, built, and exited several startups. He's currently the Managing Partner of TNB Ventures. TNB has a Series A focused VC fund and runs various corporate innovation programs. Without further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Mr. Yap.
Thank you for having me. I understand that there are about 1,000 registrations for today's program. Unfortunately, I'm not able to meet with some of you. I hope to be able to do so in the near future. I'll be sharing some slides on the journey of our innovation program, as well as some of the insight and lessons we have learned. It seemed to be a long time back, but the program, first cycle, was actually launched only in 2018. As David mentioned, this was a program really to bring about the demand driver as well as the innovators. So we systematically, globally, look for the best innovation that we can find in cybersecurity. At the same time, seek out and encourage a demand driver to really adopt this innovation. So in this process, we hope to be able to create an even more deeper ecosystem in Singapore. The first call received surprisingly wonderfully acknowledged by both the demand driver as well as the innovator. In a physical event of similar to today, we had more than 500 attendees. 8 projects were awarded. I'm happy to report that despite COVID, all the 8 projects are doing well, and they are in the final stages of testing and validating their product. They are obviously looking now for full commercialization. So with that, as also mentioned by David, CSA doubled down. We heard some of the improvement that need to be made in our first call. We doubled down. The project funding per project was increased from 500 to 1 million. And more importantly, the project cycle was also extended to 24 months, appreciating the fact that some of the innovation might take a longer time to do so. All in all, for the second cycle, we collected 14 challenge statements, but most importantly, we were able to marshal 11 key demand drivers. We expanded the sector to include healthcare, defense, maritime, and also even data center. So with that, we begin our journey of seeking out the best projects that we can globally. Happy to report that over the period, we saw close to 90 project submission. Importantly, these projects came in of greater quality. Their investment on the project ranged from 800,000 to more than 1.5 million. There's also a very nice mix of projects coming from not only the larger company, but also startups and SMEs. Happy to report that 2/3 of our awardees this cycle are all from the startups and SMEs. It seemed to be a bit long, the process. It takes about a year. Let me explain. Prior to the call, obviously, we have to work with the demand driver to tease out their core challenges and area in which they would like to invest and build competency in. So that takes us from the June, a few months periods towards where we start to launch our call. During the period of October and December, we learned something. We actually started not just seeking out the innovator, but start matching them with the demand driver and actually shaping their solution. By December, we already had 87 proposals, but more importantly, many of them already had found their demand driver and ready to go through the process of refining the proposal and presenting to the selection committee. The next few months was a place where we started to work with the demand driver, particularly in shaping their differentiator, as well as getting them ready in terms of their deployment details as well as costing. So finally, we are here today and happy to be able to share with you the winners. I will not steal the thunder. They will all be presenting, but happy to report that more than 10% of the applicants were successful, and they all will be sharing their unique value proposition shortly. Now, let me just touch on a bit about what we have learned about the winners. And this, I think, will be particularly relevant for those who are looking to apply for the next cycle of the innovation call. I think we found among all the winners some common threads. One of them is really their clarity of their competitive edge and also their deliverable. In other words, deliverable not only on the technology, but how they would be doing it in terms of deployment and their costing. Importantly, we found that most of the winners, 7 out of 9 of them actually, were able to submit their proposal early. The submission of early is not a criteria, but it's a reflection that the innovator communicated, started talking to the journey really early, meeting the demand driver, working out with them on the deployment details. Last but not least, we also found that as they engage a journey early, some innovators realize that they actually have lackings in areas, and this gave them an opportunity to seek out collaboration and partnership. In fact, one of our winners is actually a 3-company partnership. I think this is an important point as the bar gets higher. The innovators might have to look for solution or competency beyond their own organization, and combining the best practices of multiple organizations give them a leg up. My last slide is to summarize, I think, what we have learned, especially relevant to innovators. Essentially, in order to win an award, these are the 2 most important things. First is really being very clear about the differentiator. In other words, your innovation. What is your unique value proposition? We find that it is actually challenging to tease it out of many of the innovators. They get overexcited about what they have to offer, and the clarity of this is very important. What we need is really, ideally, to be able to express that innovation in 1 sentence. Innovation need not be a new technology or even a new technique. It could be a twist in the way in we approach a problem, or a first time in applying a technology or technique in a sector. So please be very clear what your innovation is. The other thing that's most important is really to be able to engage the demand driver early, not just to find a demand driver, but perhaps a champion within the organization that will work with you as a partner. It is important, right? Because your interest is not just to complete the grant, but importantly to be able to provide a commercial offering. For that, the details of how you're going to deploy it and the cost of deployment will be a very important criteria. So in summary, to be a great submission and to be able to win the next award, there are 2 things that you need to consider. Be very clear about your unique value proposition, and also to be able to seek out and have a committed champion to work with you. Thank you.